Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
I'm...
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to content creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from any and all corners of the nerd universe. We find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this episode is someone who is so talented. Double threat, triple threat, quadruple threat, whatever. She's done it all, seen it all, heard it all, sung it all, probably, from Library Bards and Star Trek Prodigy. Please welcome Bonnie Gordon. Bonnie, welcome in. How are you?
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely. We can hear you and see you
All
just
right.
splendidly. We thank you for being with us. Now, if you have any questions for Bonnie Gordon, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Producer's going to be keeping an eye on that as we go throughout the course of this episode. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. Without any further ado, Bonnie, what would you say were some of your favorite movies or TV series growing up?
Oh my gosh. Well, first off, my favorite movie of all time is The Princess Bride. I feel like it's one of the best movies ever made. Every genre is represented, and it's cast beautifully, shot beautifully. So that's my number one. I'm a huge fan of the old like 80s nostalgia stuff. I mean, everything from Back to the Future to Ghostbusters, basically pop nerd culture. TV shows growing up, that's a tough one. I was definitely part of that genre age group of the Saturday morning cartoons of the 80s and 90s, Care Bears, Rainbow Bright, Inspector Gadget, all the the Gummy Bears, all those weird little shows that you're like, you look back on now and go, wow, that was really bizarre. That was basically everything was covered in rainbows and hearts and but then I was like a weird kid growing up because I also was like a nut for like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and things like that at a very young age. So I remember, in middle school, early high school, my bedroom had a giant wizard painted on the wall. So basically people would come into my room and see this old man looking down on me over my bed. It was really awkward. But that's the kind of stuff like I would watch, that just anything fantasy, sci-fi, and then 80s nostalgic. Yeah.
Sorry, nothing wrong with the 80s, of course. Absolutely not. Did that expand to reading any books when you were growing up? Any books stand out to you?
Oh my gosh, I devoured books. I was a huge reader. That's how I got into Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, because the movies weren't out yet. That cartoon from like the 70s was the Hobbit cartoon. Do you remember those? And The Last Unicorn. That was good stuff. I think I wore the VHS tape of that out. But no, I read like crazy. I'm like a speed reader, so I could read so fast. And
wow,
as a kid with ADHD, when I was younger and hadn't really quite discovered like music and theater to channel my energy, it was one of those things where reading was the only thing that could calm me down. Like my mom would just put a book in my hand and then I'd be zoned out for hours, and they would finally have peace and quiet around the house when I would be reading. So if ever the house was too quiet, my mom would be like, Bonnie has a book somewhere and is, trapped in her own head. We have to find her and get her out, because when I was reading, I couldn't hear anything. Like they'd be calling for me, Bonnie, but like I'm completely zoned into the story and couldn't hear or see anything around me. That's pretty much with anything I do, though. If I'm like hyper focused on something, people will be like, hello, Bonnie, are you there? Yep.
So I take it that extended to watching reruns of a little show called Reading Rainbow.
Loved Reading Rainbow. Oh my gosh. And I mean, that theme song, it's just iconic. Butterflies in the sky. I rewrote it for Geordie LaForge, though. So
Ah, Has he heard it though? Has LeVar heard
He
that?
has. Xander and I, my band partner from the Library Bards, we've performed it for him live at conventions. I don't know if he liked it, but he's heard it.
Oh my gosh, good on you.
Yeah, it's like a Enterprise in the sky, Geordie LaForge and I.
Oh, that's very
He's heard it. He's heard it. Again, not sure if he's a fan of it, but well, we'll just assume he is and move on.
No, that's completely fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't know.
Sometimes you just guess. You're just like, yeah, I think he's a fan of this. Sure.
That's very true. That's very true. So when did you decide to become a singer or an actress?
Well, I was a weird kid growing up, and kind of like I had like kind of crooked legs. I walked funny. I looked funny. I had buck teeth and headgear and all that fun stuff. But when I would sing, I would get attention in a positive way and not in a like, haha, you're weird way. So I soon discovered that music was kind of a big thing for me. And I come from my mother is very musical. She would play instruments, sing, and from a young age would introduce me to, musicals and different type things like that. So it was already a part of my upbringing. And then when I realized I could do it, that I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then I remember doing community theater one summer as like a kid. And, being on stage and like delivering a line and getting that laugh from an audience where I was like, whoa. And, my younger sister, Allison, was always very like beautiful. She had like the blonde curls, blue eyes. And I was kind of like the buck teeth, glasses, like tomboy haircut. Cause I was like, I don't know what to do with this hair. To where I was kind of like the weird one, but I could be the funny one. Once I realized I got the laugh, and I would watch shows like, I Love Lucy or the Carol Burnett Show. And I was like, wait a minute. I don't have to be I don't have to be a princess. I can be a jester. And that's when I kind of dove deep into theater and music. And then when I got into high school, I joined the speech team, the speech and debate forensics. I didn't do debate. Everyone thinks, oh, you're a debater. I'm like, no, I did like the humorous interp, dramatic interp, duo, duet. And I was like first in the state for a bit. I went to nationals. I was good at it. I was like, I found something I was good at, which was exciting. Yeah.
Talking about going all over the field here. Miss Frizzle would be very impressed.
I love Miss Frizzle. I get Miss Frizzle a lot with how I dress.
Mm-hmm.
And look, sometimes I'll have like my hair will be all like curled and frizzed out, and I usually wear a lot of fun like patterns, like this. I'm wearing like a space nebula right now, or planets, or I have one that's like big old flowers and butterflies, and I get Miss Frizzle a lot. Or I'll be at a convention, they're like, "Oh, I love your Miss Frizzle cosplay," and I don't have the heart to tell them. It's just how I dress normally.
Well, you look fabulous either way. If they ever do a live action,
thank you, darling.
If they do a live action iteration of Magic School Bus, you should be cast as Miss Frizzle.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm actually pitching my own kids show right now.
Are you?
And I'm hopefully that'll happen. It's such a long, tedious process, but if it ever does get picked up, it has a lot of the same elements of Magic School Bus with a, teacher mentor type person taking children on journeys into different types of adventures. In my case, it takes place in a library and we jump into stories. So it's very much like Magic School Bus, except in a library.
Well, in the words of Futurama, shut up and take my money. I want this to happen.
I want it too, mostly because I have a 3-year-old nephew, and my dream is to create a show of some kind that, when he gets a little older, he can watch and be like, that's my aunt. It's like, I don't live back in Louisiana where he lives. So my dream is to create something that he can watch, and I can like teach him important life lessons from afar. and then he can go to school and brag, that's my Aunt Bonnie,
That's just fabulous. Well, I wish you the best of luck with that project.
Thank you.
Let's get the green light, and we can do a new generation of Magic School Bus-ish adventures.
Right? My dream is to get again, just going back to Reading Rainbow, my dream is to get LeVar Burton involved. So LeVar, if you're watching, call me.
The Reading Rainbow documentary is about to make its rounds in theaters, called Butterflies in the Sky. So,
I can't wait for that to come out.
Yep. I believe it's what is it, this weekend on Sunday and Wednesday. They're going to be doing theatrical showings at local theaters all across the country. So check your local listings at amctheaters.com.
Fantastic. Wow, releasing it on St. Patrick's Day. That's brave. I was like, butterflies in the sky.
Yeah, but you know what? Crazier things have happened. But the craziest thing that is yet to happen is the person who may be watching or listening to this, ask Bonnie Gordon a question, because she's here. And she's here to take your questions and comments.
Here I am.
And don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If this is your first time here on as a part of the channel, And I Quote channel and I Quote, we thank you for being here. Do really appreciate it. Oh, look, I asked for comments and already they're starting to ring in. Let's see who we got here. Brian Thomas Donahue from the Big Sci-Fi Podcast. He says, Hey, Ryan. Hey, Bonnie.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, good to see you, Brian. Hope everything's well in your neck of the woods. And make sure you check out the Big Sci-Fi Podcast on all social media platforms. They do some great stuff, and they've conducted interviews with Star Trek alumni. So, yeah, true story. True story. I kid you not. I kid you not. So, in your mind, what are some of the biggest rewards about being a singer and or actress?
Oh gosh. When you think of rewards, you think of, physical or materialistic things, and that's really not why people go into some people go into this industry looking for their big break and want that whole fame and fortune thing. And then there's the people like me, like the creatives that really don't know what else they would do. Like, I do this because I don't know what else my purpose would be if I couldn't pursue this as a career. Music and theater and, performing in any capacity has been my life, really, when you think about it. And it's what drives me. It's what I'm passionate about. It's what's gotten me through the lowest of lows in my life and the highest of highs. So not like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's something about, and this is why I think it's so important to keep things like the arts in schools, like music departments and theater classes and whatnot, because you don't know how much something like that can change a child's life. I don't, the path I would have taken, I think would have been so destructive and so dark if I hadn't had found a way to like channel my energy and really use my voice and use my energy. I used energy twice. You know what I mean? There's a, within my family, we depression tends to run in my family, anxiety, all this stuff. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're always so happy, you're always so this. And really that's not always the case. There are moments where I go through a lot of dark paths and, dark areas in life. And, but what drives me and what keeps me going and what, it's always that next laugh, that next, I know that sounds so silly, like you chase the applause, but it really is what gives me life. And it gives me so much joy to share my talents and my energy with others. There's nothing like doing something live and getting that instant laugh or that instant gasp or touching someone emotionally by giving part of your soul to them. And I know that sounds so cheesy, man, I should just like put this on a pillow or something, but really, I don't even remember what the question was.
Well, the question was, for those of you who are just turning on the thinking cap bulb, the question was, what are the rewards of being a singer and or actor? And you pretty much answered it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
you didn't do anything wrong. You still passed the test with flying.
Oh, good. I still eventually answered the question. To sum it up, it's not about money. It's not, because trust me, if it was a money thing, none of us would be in this career, because all of us are like struggling financially when it comes to the arts, when it comes to music and theater and performing and acting in any kind. So many people think we're in it for those reasons. And if that was the case, we're all very, I don't know.
We're in trouble.
Warped. Exactly.
Warped? Maybe not in the warp core, but
not in the warp core.
No, maybe not in the warp drive. I don't know.
You know what I mean.
Yes, I
we
know.
have a warped sense of reality if that's why we're in it for those reasons.
Yeah.
And I've always told people I'm definitely not in it for the fame and fortune. My goal has just always been to make a comfortable living doing what I love. I still haven't even got to that goal yet. But the fact that I can do what I love and share it with others and, make somewhat of a difference in people's lives is really the reward in itself.
No, I would tend to agree with that. The reason we do these things here at And I Quote channel and the reason I keep doing podcasting is because I love it so much. And if you love what you do, it's not called work. And I don't really do it. I don't do it for the fame. I do it because I love it. And I do it because I like meeting new people.
You get it? Absolutely.
Yeah. And we get to geek out about our favorite fandoms, which if you go to our if you go to our YouTube channel, we have playlists for different things that we're passionate about, including Star Wars, including other things as well. Don't get me wrong. We have lots of Star Trek because look at the bright side. Search for Spock turns 40 later this year, and we're going to be celebrating that. So,
isn't that amazing?
Man, these films, time flies when you're having fun in the Star Trek or Star Wars galaxies. Let me tell you.
Right.
It's a crazy mixed-up world we live in. But what's not crazy or mixed up is the flip side of this question, which is, what are some of the biggest challenges about being an actress or singer?
Feeding myself and paying bills.
Getting that bag of chips around the corner. Yeah.
Honestly, that's the hardest part. This industry is very unstable is not the right word. It's unpredictable is a good word.
Okay.
And you could be doing really well and booking gigs back to back one moment and then not book anything for a year the next. And I don't think people realize, especially when it comes to voiceovers, like, for example, I'll record something and can't talk about it for like a year and a half, 2 years. And then the project comes out and everyone's like, wow, you're working so much. So great to see you working. And I was like, I got a, $800 check from that back in, 2021. And that was the last I've seen of it. So I think people have like this elated or like glamorous, like I'll get, fans. And first of all, I hate calling them fans because it sounds so pretentious. Fellow nerds that, that my comrades, but I'll get like messages in my DMs on, Instagram or Facebook or whatever, asking a question, and I'll write and they go, is this really Bonnie or is this her assistant? And I'm like, an assistant? If I could afford an assistant, oh man, just think of all the things I could get done. I could send someone out to do my laundry, and answer, questions on the internet. But I don't think people realize, there's this glamorized version of Hollywood that people think about, and it's really not that. Like if people saw like my bank account or where, I'd been living for the past 15 years, they'd be like, oh, that's a choice. But then you get the other side of the question, which is, why do you do it if it's such a struggle, and if you're going to be struggling for your entire life? Some of my family, my father, he's gotten so much better about this recently, but my entire life he's been trying to convince me to give up, performing and singing and different things like that, because he thinks, in his mind, it's because he loves me. He wants me to be successful. He wants me to be able to, afford to pay bills. He wants to be able to see me retire one day. And the path that I'm on right now is not that path. I'm basically going to be, a struggling artist in his mind for the rest of my life. And that's okay, because that I'm happy. And so that's kind of what people need to realize. It is a huge struggle out there, and it's not what you think it is. The whole fake it till you make it thing is a real thing. Social media is an optical illusion of success. You see so many of these incredible actors and people working on projects, and they're posting all these amazing, pictures of them on set in costume and this and that, but really, they're doing this to make it seem like they're, still working and relevant to the space. And I'm the same way. Like, I have pictures I'll post of me recording a voiceover that was taken like a selfie like from like 2 years ago. But I like space them out and it looks like I'm constantly working and and and, and getting jobs when really it's like, oh, that was from 2 years ago, but no one needs to know. I look the same, maybe. Anyway, that was kind of a sad answer. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's
But it's
you just
I
revealed all
hate
your
lying to
BTS
people.
secrets. It's okay.
I hate lying to people and it's truth, this industry's hard and but we do it for the love of it and or at least I do. I can't speak for everyone, but I love that, just as the difficulties are there, the rewards are there as well. And so, you have to balance it out. I don't think I think I would my mental health would suffer greatly if I was stuck in a cubicle all day. Um, doing a job that brought me zero joy. And so that's the sacrifice I make is my bank account will suffer, but I don't live very rich. I'm not a rich person, but I live very richly. Does that make sense? In the
Yeah, I
sense
think I
that
heard that. I think I heard that in the movie Clueless once.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding. I didn't hear it there. I may have heard
oh.
something else. Listen, I digress. I hear things all the time. Sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't. But what does make sense is the person who's watching or listening to this episode of And I Quote with the superstar of the decade known as Bonnie Gordon here on the show.
I want that on a business card.
I know, right? Hey, listen, if you want me to be your hype man, just give me a holla. But don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you have any questions for Bonnie, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If this is your first time here, welcome. We hope you enjoy your stay with us. Click that subscribe button and ring that bell because we're only a handful of people away from reaching 1,000.
Ooh.
Yeah, we only got 6
exciting.
people away. We're only 5 or 6 people away. So
Congratulations.
let's get to the top of that mountain so we can bring everybody who's been on these shows back to celebrate along with us, as well as Bonnie Gordon, of course. She's more than welcome to come back.
Cool.
And hang out with us. We'll do special giveaways as well. So just tell your friends about us. That's the best way you can do it. So what is the best piece and or pieces of advice that you would give to somebody who's aspiring to be an actor or a singer?
Do it for the right reasons, A, and B, don't expect like instant success. So many people move out to LA and like after 6 months to a year, like, what the hell? And, just have to pack up their bags and leave. For me, I've been out here over 15 years now, and I feel like I'm just now scratching the surface of what I can do and people are discovering what I can do. It's taken me so long just to be able to be considered for projects and be able to get into an audition room for things. So really it's a constant battle. So I would say do it for the right reasons. And also don't let anyone change who you are. Your morals, your integrity. This town, this industry can kind of try and break you down. Everyone talks about like the whole fake Hollywood scene and there's so much of that everywhere in this industry. And it's heartbreaking to see some, people that I know and love that I've known since I moved out here get that touch of success. And then they kind of change as a person and forget who they are and forget what made them special in the first place, if that makes sense. And they just kind of become part of the machine. As someone who struggles with weight, who is considered in Hollywood obese, which I think is insane. I'm like a size 12, 14, and I'm considered like major plus size in Hollywood. And I'm pretty average, size, but it's a constant battle of being told I need to lose weight every day. And there's a part of me that, is on this journey of bettering myself physically and mentally, but it really does start to take a toll on you when you're told, constantly that you're not pretty enough, you're not talented enough, you're not skinny enough, you're not, girly enough, you're not, if you're a character actor, you don't look charactery enough. It's like, come on, are you kidding me? So it's, don't let the machine change you. What makes you special, keep that essence of yourself. And one day, I've tried to stay very true to myself out here. And I feel like for the first time, with some of the jobs I'm getting, and that what made me unique and special is what people are starting to see, instead of trying to completely change who I am and change, my look or my ideals. And I'm very happy that I stayed who I am throughout this whole process. Does that make sense? Yeah, just stay true to who you are and be kind. My God, there's so many stories of people just being rude to, everyone, to crew, to extras. Just be kind to everyone. Treat everyone with respect. You don't know what someone's going through. You don't know their own personal story. You don't know who just needs a smile. If I'm on a set or if I'm working in any capacity, I'm always kind to the craft services, the audio engineer, this, that, just be kind to everyone, and they'll want to work with you again. And that's been how that's how I've gotten most of my jobs out here, is not from auditioning per se, but from them bringing me back in after a job going, let's work with Bonnie again, because she was so fun and nice. And that's all it is, really. It's not rocket science. Just be kind to people and treat people with respect, and don't lose your uniqueness and your integrity. Yeah.
So
that's what I say.
yeah, so it's fair to say, the more you know. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's taking us back a little bit, but no, really, really good stuff. And just for argument's sake, and I'm not saying this just because you're here on set with us here on And I Quote. I'm saying this because I genuinely mean this. You're an amazing person inside and out. So there you go.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
That is the honest to God truth. Because a little quick behind the scenes story. Bonnie and I have interacted with each other at conventions such as Shore Leave in the great state of Maryland, where I'm from. Now, anyway, used to live in North Carolina. Now I'm back in Maryland. What's up, guys? So we've met, we talked to each other, and she's just, you want to nerd out about stuff with her, just do it, honestly.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Whoever
just
it
come
is,
to my table. I'll talk about anything.
Whatever it is, you who may be watching or listening to this, you and Bonnie would just hit it off tremendously. So with that being said, got to share something with you here, Bonnie, if you don't mind. Library Bards. What's that all about? How did Library Bards happen?
Oh man. So the gentleman with the blue hair, that's one of my best friends, Xander Jeanneret. He was on a television show called King of the Nerds.
I know that show. I watched it.
Yeah, he was on season 2 of King of the Nerds, and I was on a nerdy reality show called The Quest. So we were friends before, and we were doing local conventions of doing panels of like behind the scenes of a nerdy reality show or something like that. And we came to realize, there's only so many times we can talk about these shows before they're going to be irrelevant and people aren't going to remember them anymore, because it was a very niche, show to watch. Yeah. And that's when he and I were like, let's think of a project that we can do that's ours, that we create, so we can still keep going to conventions and, performing at these events and doing panels. So we came up with the idea of doing music, because he sings, I sing, and we both come from a comedy background, improv. And I love writing parodies. Love writing parodies. It's something I've always done, and I'm pretty quick with them. And he's very good at it as well. So we came up with the idea of a nerdy parody duo called the Library Bards. Jazz hands. You have to do the jazz hands every time. That's the rule. Library Bards. And we, from 2015 to 2020, we traveled to so many conventions. It was insane. We were musical guests at so many. It was amazing. We have 2 albums out, Bombarded and Bardcore. We have songs about all different kinds of fandoms, from Star Wars, Star Trek, to comic books, Pokemon, Power Rangers, Jurassic Park, D&D. I'm talking like you name it, we sing about it. Sailor Moon, Harry Potter. We sing about everything. And recently, within the past few years, after COVID especially, Xander's kind of taken a different career path, and he's really focusing on the TTRPG space and streaming on Twitch and different things like that. And a lot of the time, Red Bull came up. A lot of the time traveling to these conventions, we're lucky if we break even. So it wasn't like it was a financial, huge financial excitement thing. So it was one of those moments where we sat down and we were like, okay, you're focusing on this and I'm focusing on this, which is I was focusing more on doing more music and creating my own solo act. So I do continue to do library bards and library bard songs. And every now and then Xander will pop in. For example, we're going to be on the D20 cruise at the end of April. It's a Dungeons and Dragons cruise. And we're going to be performing a library bard set together for the first time in a year. So it's going to be exciting to see how many words we look at each other and go, uh-oh. But it's a great, it's given us so many wonderful opportunities, and we've gotten to travel. Look us up everywhere on Spotify, Bandcamp, iTunes. You can even look up on YouTube, search Library Bards. We have some really fun music videos up there.
You mentioned Power Rangers. I just met 2 of them this past weekend in Awesome Con in our nation's capital of DC. David Yost and Walter Jones, ladies and gentlemen, from the original.
Yeah. We have a Time After Time, but it's Mighty Morphin Time.
I got to go back and listen to this because as someone who grew up in the greatest decade of them all known as the 90s, which included Magic School Bus, Power Rangers, among other properties, I got to go back and listen to this now because I'm
telling you, we try and hit every fandom we can, and I'm still writing. I just wrote two different Star Trek songs that I did at Trek to San Francisco over the past weekend. So I got more music coming out. I got more ideas. Things are exciting.
Oh my goodness!
Mm-hmm.
It's a good time to be a fan, isn't it?
It's a good time to be. It's a good time to be a nerd. Are you kidding me?
I'm not a big fan.
Look at what we've done. Like D&D is now like a household thing.
Mm-hmm. The movie came out.
Star Trek. We have like 9 different Star Trek shows going on at one time. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a plethora, Hefe.
Yeah.
To keep up with that stuff. For those of you just tuning in, this is, and I quote, with the guest of honor, and I do mean guest of honor, Bonnie Gordon. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you have any questions for her, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. I'm more than happy to take those as they come in respectively. And if you're a fan of a certain property or you wish to talk more about this, I do want to share this with Bonnie, and I want to share this with you who may be watching and listening to this. Before I bring up the next question for you, Bonnie, I want to give you an opportunity, and the person who may be watching or listening to this, an opportunity to go to the Wayback Machine before we focus on the new era that's currently going on, or should I say still it's somewhat in development. So this is for you. Take a look.
Space, the final frontier.
The adventures you love are here.
Welcome aboard, Voyager.
Celebrate the 40th anniversary of one of the most exciting franchises in television history, Star Trek on DVD. Bring home every episode.
Get started.
From every series.
I am Locutus.
40 years of thrilling action.
Full power.
Amazing missions.
Resistance is futile.
Captivating encounters.
What is it?
It's a tribble.
And groundbreaking moments are all available on DVD.
Take us out of orbit, Mr. Sulu. Ahead and walk back to one.
Including the original series.
Mr. Scott, ready to beam up.
The Next Generation.
Engage.
Deep Space Nine.
Fire at will.
Voyager.
Energize.
And Enterprise.
Lock phase cannons.
And look for the newest addition to the Star Trek family, the Star Trek Fan Collectives. Created for the fans, by the fans. 4 new 4-disc collector sets with classic episodes chosen by the fans, featuring brand new text commentaries.
Fascinating.
The journey home is now complete.
You and the others are about to make history.
Look for the entire Star Trek universe on DVD.
I remember those.
You remember those like they were yesterday. Guess what? One or two of those things, so do I. But speaking of Star Trek,
my baby.
Let's talk about Prodigy. Now you
look at my protostar. Isn't she beautiful? What a beautiful ship.
Now you were the voice of the ship's computer, were you not? And if so,
acknowledged. I still am. That hasn't changed. Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
All right. Well, my question was, how does it feel to be a part of the Star Trek legacy?
Oh my God, it's insane. It's one of the most incredible feelings. So I came in, I started working at the Star Trek Experience in Vegas. I was part of the closing cast of the Star Trek Experience in Las Vegas, Nevada. And that's what got me into Star Trek, because I was more of a fantasy and Star Wars kind of gal. And when I went to this audition, I was able to improv my way through it, but they were like, you need to watch more Star Trek. You need to know what you're doing. And I'm like, that's fine. And then I became hooked, and then I rewatched everything later in life and became a full-on Trekkie. And when I saw that they were going to have animation series, they announced Lower Decks and Prodigy about the same time. As a voiceover actor, I pulled every string I could just to get an audition. It was not easy. And I got pulled in at the very beginning for Prodigy to do scratch voice for Gwen and Captain Janeway, which was an incredible experience. So I was part of their production from the beginning, really. I was one of the first voice actors they brought in. And the Hageman brothers have been so incredible to me that they were like, don't worry, we're going to find a place for you, a permanent role for you. And they've given me quite a few roles throughout the series. But again, most people know me as the ship computer. And season 2 will be coming out soon on Netflix. And I can't wait for everyone to see it. We get Picardo. We get the doctor, the emergency medical hologram in season 2 of Prodigy. Like, are you kidding me? He's one of my favorites. So, and I'm still the voice of the ship computer, not just the ship of not just the protostar. I'm the ship of all the ship. I'm the voice of all the Starfleet computers as well. So you'll hear my voice on Voyager. It's very exciting.
Wow, talk about living long and prospering, if I ever heard one.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm just so thrilled to be a part of such an incredible franchise. And there's no fans like Star Trek fans. I do Comic-Cons, I do anime conventions, I do all types of nerd events all over the world and all over the country. And when I say the Star Trek conventions are so unique and so one of a kind and so special, the Star Trek fan community is like no other I've ever seen. And I'm trying not to get emotional talking about it, but I'm just so honored to be welcomed with such open arms within the community. And everyone's been so kind. And same thing behind the scenes with the actors. You know, when I do a convention and I'm in the break room with a bunch of these, you know, crazy, amazing stars, and I'm sitting at the table by myself going like, oh gosh, I don't belong in here. Why am I in here? I just wanted a banana, you know, but they're always so, you know, they always come up to me. I'm like, Bonnie, good to see you. And, you know, talk to me and give me a hug. And I'm like, I don't feel like I'm one of them at all. I feel like I'm an imposter. So the fact that they also make me feel so welcome in the space is very wonderful. You know, going to these events and different things, it's very special to be a part of. Star Trek is not like any other fandom, in my opinion.
Well, that is just magnificent. Now, a young viewer here has a question for you. Takako asks, have you tackled Dune in song parody form?
Ooh, that's a great question. Oh, we have not tackled Dune yet, but with the new movies coming out, I don't think it's that far off. I need to think of a good one. Maybe something with like a sandworm. Something with sand would be good, or spice.
Yeah.
Something with spice.
Yeah.
You know, obviously something like Spice Baby would be too easy.
Spice, maybe.
Huh?
Sugar and spice.
Maybe. I'd have to think about that, but definitely, I definitely need to sit down and write a Dune parody. That's a great question. And also now I have ideas rolling through my head. So you've done this to yourself.
Ugh, gee willikers. Whoa, sandworms. You hate them, right? Yeah. I hate them myself. Sorry, that's going back to the 80s for a minute there. Yeah. And oddly enough, a sequel 35 years no one thought it would ever happen. Beetlejuice Part 2 is coming out later this year, which is insane.
I am so excited for that. I love Beetlejuice. I love the movie. I love the musical. I loved the cartoon growing up. Man.
Cartoon? You remember the cartoon?
Of course I remember the cartoon. I'm almost okay. I don't think people realize how old I am. I'm very I can blame the bayou water in the sense that I look very young and I grew up on a bayou. I just always say it's the bayou water. I'm gonna be 38 in 2 weeks. So I'm very close to 40. And people are always just like, oh, Bonnie, you're so young and innocent, you little 24-year-old. I'm like, oh, that's funny.
That's cute.
I could be your mom, But yeah, I'm gonna be 38 in like a week and a half. And so I whenever I talk about certain, things from like the 80s or 90s, people look at me like, oh, but that's way, before your time. And I'm looking at them like, no, that's actually that's all my time. But I also love old, so like my favorite genre of music besides 80s music is the old like Doris Day, Peggy Lee, Frank Sinatra. I love like 40s, 50s, jazz standards and stuff like that. So I listen to quite a bit of that. So whenever people make like a, joke, like, oh, you don't know who Betty Hutton is. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I sing one of her songs in my set. People just, I think, don't think that I think I have a very bright and youthful energy. And then I scare people when they realize, oh, she's like a grandma, actually, like with the music she listens to and the things she does. You're like, oh, okay, Granny.
I know we can still be in our 30s and enjoy as time goes by in Casablanca.
Absolutely.
It doesn't bother me. By the way, Casablanca is one of the greatest of all time anyway. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Casablanca is one of my top. Is it in my top 10? If it's not in my top 10, it's somewhere in the top 25 for sure.
Here's looking at you, Ryan.
Oh, I love it. That movie just turned 80. I believe it was 2 years last year or the year before. I think it was one of the two. You can watch it on Movie Watch Along, which is on the Movie Nerds playlist on our YouTube channel. We've done so many different movies, have celebrated so many different anniversaries over the years, and we're planning on doing even more so later on this year. I mean, my gosh,
Nice.
in the next few weeks here, Bonnie, we got 25th anniversary of Disney's Tarzan. You got the
Ooh, come on, let's get a Phil Collins concert going.
I mean, if you want to be on with us, just say the word. We'll get you on set. Virtually, of course. You don't even have to leave the comfort of your home. Let's see.
Well, I have everything blurred for a reason because I'm in the middle of a move and you do not want to see what's behind me.
No,
it's a disaster.
But we have Tarzan coming up. We have Back to the Future Part 2 turns 35. You got The Crow. Brandon Lee's The Crow turns 30 here in a few weeks. So yeah. Oh, and Captain America: The Winter Soldier turns 10 in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So,
a lot of movie birthdays.
A lot of birthdays coming up that, if Bonnie wants to be on with us and be one of our panelists, she's more than welcome to join.
Ooh, tempting. Especially for the Back to the Future one. I love Back to the Future. I'm so excited because a friend of mine is also going through a move right now and decided to get rid of their hoverboard. And I'm like, I'm sorry, excuse you. I'm taking this right now. And so I can't wait to hang it in my new place. I'm like, a hoverboard. So I'm so excited for that.
Did Mattel make it?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's a nice one though. It's a nice one.
I hope it says Mattel on it because it makes it more authentic. You're like, hoverboard. That's the real thing.
I'll have to look at it. I didn't get a good look at it. I just basically told
you
him
can slide into those DMs
I will
later.
kill him.
Yeah.
If he's watching, pack up the hoverboard. It's mine.
Yeah. And then before you leave, just make sure you treat yourself to a Pepsi Perfect. One of those two drinks, whichever it is. Gosh. Any special memories for you, Bonnie, from being at conventions or other events, whether you're there as a vendor or there as an attendee that stand out, other than the few that you've already mentioned?
Ooh, I mean, so many, really. Just this past weekend, kudos to all the amazing fans at Trek to San Francisco. By the end of the con, there was a chant happening. Like anytime I'd walk through like the hotel or whatever, and everyone would just start chanting, more Bonnie, more Bonnie. It was amazing. That was incredible. I did a jazz concert and like an hour and a half jazz concerts the Saturday night, and everyone was dancing, singing along, having a great time. And I couldn't have been happier with the turnout. One that really stands out to me is Xander and I think we were doing a convention in Vegas, and there were this brother-sister duo that were big fans of the Library Bards, and they cosplayed as the Library Bards, but they gender bent it. So the brother was dressed as me and like sprayed his hair red and had the green leathers on, and then the girl was cosplaying as Xander, and they had like the medieval leathers on. They had our logo and their bracers and everything. It was amazing. I was shocked. I was like, this looks incredible. So kudos to them. That was great. I mean, there's just so many con memories that it's basically just me nerding out with a bunch of other nerds. Like when I go do conventions, I just have a blast and I have so much fun, and it's why I do so many of them, because I just enjoy them so much. So I love the parties. I mean, there's nothing like, sitting on a throne surrounded by a bunch of Klingons drinking, blood wine at 2 a.m, everyone yelling "Kapla" in a hotel room. It's like, come on, are you kidding me? Like, it's just, I love doing the convention so much. I love the different themed party rooms that people do at hotels, and man, it's just such a blast. I love you guys. I love all of you so much.
Got to be careful around those Klingons sometimes.
No, are you kidding me? My people, they bring honor to my house.
Yeah, your house.
I'm not invited over to my house. I don't want to have to clean up that mess.
No, of course not. It'll end up like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Mm-hmm.
In some way, shape, or form. There's a throwback. If anyone's ever heard of that one, if you haven't seen it, watch that movie. It's one of the best. Christine Applegate, we love you, and we wish you the best with your health struggles right now. For those of you just joined us, this is And I Quote with the wonderful, incredible, and amazing, what other adjectives can I use? Bonnie Gordon here on this episode. Don't forget to like and share this with everyone you know. If you have any questions for Bonnie, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat, and if you're watching this live, or what is known as a replay, we thank you for being with us. But I do want to inform you that this episode of And I Quote, and every episode, is indeed powered by our good friends over here at Poddex. Now, Bonnie's going to love this. Why? Because Poddex are the hottest, and I mean red hot, new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or gamify their podcast. Simply shuffle up, you ask a question, and you let the content roll. Get yours today at poddex.com and use that promo code Ryan10, that's RYAN10, for 10% off your order from our good friends at Poddex. Now, Poddex wants to know, Bonnie.
I was about to say, are you going to ask me a question? I want to know.
We're getting
I want to do one. Pick one. Okay.
Just do it. Anyway.
Do it.
What? Goodness Lord. What do you think one of the biggest cons of being famous or infamous would be?
I don't even like to think of myself as famous. That's such a strange concept. Is the imposter syndrome in me?
Yeah.
I guess like one of the strangest things is, going somewhere, being asked for, stop for a picture, or, you know what it does? It does make dating a little difficult, because I've been banned from Tinder because they thought my profile was fake, and I was like, no, it's really me. But again, I'm like a nobody in the scheme of things, which I thought was really bizarre. That like it was like I was flagged as a fake profile, and I was like, oh no. Oh well. I mean, it's not gonna hurt me, but that's been it's one instance, and we're friends now, so I can tell the story without laughing. But if you search my name in like a GIF search, or there's a lot of GIFs of me from back in my Geek and Sundry days of being on Shield of Tomorrow, which was like a Star Trek TTRPG show.
Oh boy. And
apparently there was a gentleman who always used one of my GIFs for conversations. It was like a GIF of me going kapla, and we matched on a dating site. This was years ago, and in all caps he freaked out going, "You're the kapla girl." So that was funny. I wouldn't really even call that famous. It was just a funny, apparently I was a GIF he used like on a daily basis, and he was so excited to match with me because I was the kapla girl. And I was like, oh dear, this is what I'm known for now. This is my level of fame. So yeah, I don't feel like I'm any level of famous. Like no one recognizes me at like a grocery store or anything like that, really. just feel I feel so honored and grateful that I'm able to, work in this industry and nerd out with fellow nerds on a regular basis. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't really think I can answer that question like someone who's actually famous can, but
no, it's fair. You had a moment on a dating website and you made it so. So with that being
said, I did. Oh, my favorite is whenever they, if guys are being not appropriate and asking me questions like, what's your favorite position? And I just send a GIF back of me in Starfleet uniform and say helm.
oh boy, this could be.
And they get very confused, and then I just delete and block them. But
yeah, that could be taken a couple of different ways. But Poddex is interested to know what specific work of art do you admire the most, like the Mona Lisa or something?
Ooh, you know what? I wouldn't even call this a work of art, but there's this picture that I always save on my phone, and it's like this black and white sepia photo, and it's of a little girl, and her back is it's you just see the back of her, and she has little fairy wings attached to her back.
Oh yeah.
And it's like an old photo, or it looks like an old photo, and the quote that comes with it says, "But what if I fall?" And then underneath it says, "But my darling, what if you fly?" And I always love that. That piece of work has always inspired me, and I've sometimes put it as my phone wallpaper, because sometimes the fear of failure and the fear of falling, both physically and metaphysically, can hold you back from reaching your true potential. And so I have to constantly remind myself to take risks and to not be afraid to fly, because if I don't do it, no one's going to do it for me. And also, you never know if there's a little girl watching that I'm inspiring to take that leap of faith and follow their dreams and passions too. So it's all about, taking that leap. And so I know that's not really technically like a work of art, but to me, it's inspired me for so many years that I keep it on my phone as like a quick shortcut, that if ever I'm feeling down, I can look at it and go, that's right, I'm going to be like that little girl and just jump off the roof. Maybe don't do that. Don't actually jump off a roof, people with little fairy wings on your back, but you know what I mean. Don't be afraid to fail, because that's how we learn and can succeed next time.
Boy, that's a mic drop moment if I ever heard one.
No, thank you.
But man, Poddex is pretty good at this stuff with questions. Poddex is interested, though, outside of Tinder, the dating stuff. Have you ever been kicked out of anything? And if so, what was it?
Oh, geez. Have I ever been? Actually, yeah, I got kicked out of the 3rd grade. I had a teacher that it wasn't that I was a bad student. I made good grades in school. But I was very distracting with my ADHD. I was like, I couldn't sit still. I was fidgety. I would have glue all over me. I would just play with glue at all times and like,
oh boy,
ask weird questions. I was a weird kid. Yeah, I was an odd duck. So with all that being said, I ended up, my teacher at that school went to my mom and was like, I just don't feel comfortable teaching Bonnie anymore, which is kind of messed up in its own self. She's since apologized. And I got moved to a different school. So yeah, I did get kicked out of 3rd grade. Does that count? Boy, I can't think of anything where I've got kicked out of anything. I've like closed places down where like they kicked us out because it was closing, and they're like, everyone needs to leave.
They played
the restaurant is closed.
Yeah,
but I've never been. I'm not much of a troublemaker. I was a pretty good kid. I never got kicked out of anything besides school.
So, so if a place is closing, they just play your favorite song. It's closing time.
Exactly.
Yeah. They can just play that one. Here's an interesting one. Poddex is curious. What is your kryptonite?
Ooh, cheese plates, maybe. I love them. What is my kryptonite? You mean the thing that will like if I told everyone my kryptonite, then that's like defeats the purpose of it being kryptonite. I don't want you guys to know what my weaknesses are.
You can always,
but probably cheese plates.
Okay, I was gonna say
I'm a sucker for a good cheese, but I'll be in a fine dining restaurant and looking at like a meal to buy, and I'll see a cheese plate and be like, "That's what I want for dinner." And everyone with me is like, "You're kidding," and I'm like, "Nope, I want the cheese plate, especially if it has cheddar and goat cheese. I'm in. I'm down. That's all I want.
I was going to say for this,
a good goat cheese and Korean barbecue.
Nothing wrong with that. But if you didn't want to answer the question originally, you could have just said, "I plead the fifth."
That is true. I could have.
You could have,
but I didn't. I told you my secret. Bring me a cheese plate.
Cheese plate. It's like an episode of Law and Order, which has been going for over 30 years, which is insane. By the way, they're still going. They're still going with new episodes and new series coming out too. When you have to study for what is known as a test, what is a proven successful method to do that?
Oh man, I was so bad about this in school because again, ADHD, but I would always wait till last minute and procrastinate to study. And I was really good at like looking over everything right before the test, taking the test, and then not remembering anything about it after. One thing that I would do is write jingles or like some kind of rhyming scheme to things to make me remember, or like have some kind of song. You know, you think about shows like Animaniacs that was so great about teaching something educationally. Like I remember the countries of the world because of Animaniacs, and you know the states and the capitals because of Animaniacs, and people don't realize how much children learn through music. Think of the ABCs, you know, think of little things like that we still to this day know because we've learned it in song. So if there's something really important that I need to remember, I'll put like a little, you know, thing to it. I remember in English class, I couldn't remember these certain words that, you know, go. So I was like, of within, at too far, by from on during, of within, at too far, by from on during, you know, like stuff like that. If I can remember, I wrote a song about atoms in science class, so I could remember like the electron goes around, you know, I was very big about writing little jingles and songs to help me remember. So I think that, you know, that obviously that won't work for everyone, but that's how I retain information better. So
Wow.
thanks, Animaniacs.
Yeah, more power to you. Well, we want to take this opportunity. Good Lord, take this opportunity to say thank you to the one and only Bonnie Gordon for being our guest on this wonderful intergalactic epic episode of epic proportions of anti-quote. Good Lord, my words are twisted. So Bonnie, if someone's watching or listening to this and want to find out more about you and some of the things you're going to be up to, maybe some of those appearances at conventions you're going to be making in 2024, where can they find you?
I'm so easy to find. If you just search Bonnie Gordon anywhere, or just search Bonnie Bell G, that's BonnieBellG, you'll find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Patreon. I have a Patreon. And pretty much anywhere. I'm very Googleable. Just search Bonnie Gordon and you'll find me. I can't hide. I've tried. So yeah, just search me anywhere. And I have a bunch of different conventions and events coming up throughout the year. I'm going to be at the D&I Con in Philly in a couple weeks. I'll be on the Dungeons and Dragons cruise at the end of April. I got Trek Long Island. I got Creations Star Trek Las Vegas coming up in August. So look at my schedule. I have so many different fun conventions and events that I'll be doing.
Well, thank you so much, Bonnie, for being with us. Do greatly appreciate it. You are a wonderful person inside and out. And don't worry about the stuff that happened on Tinder. That's their loss.
Well, yeah, dating in itself is already a mess, so I'm good.
Yeah, it's a bit of a minefield.
It is.
As one might say. But we thank you for being with us. And remember, Bonnie. Yeah, we were happy to have you. And remember, live long and prosper for us, will you?
Absolutely. Or as we say on Prodigy, live logs and proper.
Gosh almighty. Haven't heard that one before, but we thank her for being with us. My name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Make sure you follow us across all forms of social media, as well as Bonnie Gordon. The links are located in the description of this episode. So make sure you follow those links, follow our links, follow us across all forms of social media. By the way, we are this close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. And once we do, we're going through a great big live stream celebration. It's going to include returning favorites such as Bonnie Gordon telling us why she loves Magic School Bus so much. And some special guests and some special giveaways that are going to include 11x17 prints done by the art of John Pinto on Facebook. Make sure you're following him there. If you want to support the show, we have a Buy Me a Coffee /pizza. Because Bonnie, who doesn't like pizza? Check out all those links. They're in our bio. They're in the description. Also, if you want merch to make yourself look more presentable when you're going to the front office, or if you're going to a Star Trek convention, guess what? We got shirts, we got hoodies, we got stickers, we got coffee mugs, we got tumblers, we got other things that you can put up in your home or your office space, or take with you to Comic-Con, such as maybe a tote bag of some sorts. Follow those links in the description below, and we greatly appreciate it. And by the way, this has been such a great episode. We hope you, who may be watching or listening to this, have enjoyed it. And remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that bell to be notified when our new videos go up or they go live. And remember, life is better when celebrating your favorite fandoms and sharing them with the people around you. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.